What is up, my fellow Chibits? Today, I'm here to bring you the highly requested Ajin First Impressions / review. Now, I have seen it constantly since the first episode aired last weekend. Many were asking, Chibi, where's the Ajin review? Chibi, where's the Ajin review? Chibi, where's the Ajin review? It was constant. It was constant. Like, every day I was seeing this. I was seeing it on Twitter, I was seeing it on Facebook, and I was seeing it in the YouTube comments every single day. And I said it quite a few times, but I never actually went into the video to state it. The reason for me actually not reviewing the first episode of Ajin was because the translations, to be frank, were shit. They were fucking shit, and I didn't want to watch an episode that had bad translations. I'd rather wait for some quality translations before I sit down and give a first impressions / review. I said the exact same thing for Taizai in the past. I've done it for many other series as well. If something has a bad translation, I will not review it until it has a better translation. So there is my, reasoning for why Ajin's first impressions were delayed for an entire week, because it was just like yesterday, like, proper translations came out, and I actually just, finished Ajin episode 2 early this morning. So this video is mainly going to be a first impressions. I'm just going to say that right now. I just want to give my overall thoughts on my first impressions of Ajin's anime, and I'm going to say right now, I actually have read the first volume of the Ajin manga. I have already read. I read it a while ago. It was a long time ago. I think when Ajin first came out in the States, when it got translated, I remember picking up the volume and actually, reading it. It's been a while, and my memory is a little bit fuzzy to the entirety of the events of the first volume of the manga, but I have read it, and for the most part, from what I can remember from the first volume, all the stuff seems to kind of be there in this first episode, and somewhat of the second episode. But the main thing I want to talk about, which everybody's up in arms about, is probably the CGI, which I gotta say right now, last night, or early this morning actually to be exact, I made a post talking about Ajin. I'm like, I heard so many complaining about the CGI, saying it was garbage, it was awful, shit, just all sorts of variety of things. I saw so many putting down Ajin because of CGI. Now, I'm gonna be honest here, I have to admit, I make fun of CGI as well. I do. I'm not a big fan of CGI, I don't really like it all the time, and you know what, I prefer to have standard traditional animation and art. I'm for that. But I wasn't going to just walk in to Ajin and actually just judge it clearly on that. There is issues with the first episode, but I'm not going to let the overall CGI alone decide the factor if I am going to watch the said series or not. What really plays into the role of my appreciation or why I will watch a anime that is CGI is if, one, it has a good plot and it has good characters. And that is what you will find in Ajin. From what I have read from the manga, what I've seen from this, first 2 episodes, or these first 2 episodes, there is quite the good content inside. I mean, there's a good story building up. I mean, you have it to where we have our main premise about how there's these demi-humans that cannot die, they're immortal, and you don't know you're a demi-human until you die, and when you realize you're a demi-human, and well, people are coming after you, trying to experiment on you, so forth, so on. The plot is really nice. It has a really good plot, has some cool characters, and even for CGI standards, it does not look bad. What I could see many actually complaining about when it comes to the CGI would probably be the frame rate. It's actually not even the CGI that is bad with this series. It actually looks really damn good. The CGI looks good. Now, it's not a God Eater CGI level. It's not. Now, you can say what you will about God Eater, but you have to admit, when it comes to CGI, God Eater looks pretty damn nice for CGI. And when it comes to this, the CGI, even though it's not that God Eater level with CGI, it still looks really good. It looks really, really good. And the only issue I found with the art animation was the actual frame rate. And I have to admit, the frame rate in some points of the first episode and second episode were lacking. It looked like, it was only going at 5 frames per second. I'm like, what the fuck? And, I mean, it looks sometimes very unnatural. But besides that, when it came to the overall design or some of the body movements, the characters don't look actually that robotic. They really don't. I remember actually watching Knights of Sidonia Season 1, and I remember seeing characters that did look a little bit robotic when they walked to how they acted, and seeing how I look at this, there is some vast improvements compared to the previous work I've seen from the studio, like, Knights of Sidonia. Looking at this, it's actually not that bad. So, instead of focusing on the CGI, which I feel like many has given this series bad rep for, let's actually focus on the other stuff. Let's focus on the characters, the plot. Is it good? Is it bad? And what is it? Is it something that should be worth your time? Well, for one, just to you know, I'm going to actually say this real quick. If you're a person that cannot move past the CGI, if you really cannot stand the way it looks, I just don't think you should probably continue watching. Go read the manga. The manga is pretty damn nice. The artwork and everything looks really good in the manga. But if you cannot move past the CGI, this series is not going to be for you. That's just straight to the point. Now that said that, let's dive into the plot. So the plot, everything I know and remember from the first volume. And I don't know why I never really continued actually reading the manga when I read the first volume, because I remember being very interested in the plot. I was really interested in finding out what was going to happen, because it has a really good premise. And, I mean, it makes you wonder, like, is our main male character going to be able to escape this, you know, organization that's trying to hunt him down and experiment on him? I mean, imagine if you're being hunted down, like, you thought you were a human, you die one day, and then all of a sudden you're being hunted down and going to be experimented on, like, for instance, probably killed multiple times over and over again, trying to figure out how someone could kill a demi-human. I mean, overall, just the premise is very fascinating. And that's why I think many are willing to probably stick through the CGI, is just because of the plot and characters, which is one of the main reasons why I am going to just, you know, sit back and watch the series as well, because I actually like the plot and characters. But for the most part, though, what I could say is my first impressions, very, very positive. I have very positive impressions for this, you know, series so far. The only issue, like I said, I really see with it, besides CGI, if that really bugs you, is the frame rate. Just the frame rate of some of the scenes. That's one of the biggest issues. One of the biggest offenders when it comes to the episode. Now, when it comes to violence and some of the things, I really like it. They still kept the nature of how the, you know, manga was. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.